Welcome everyone to the VLOGAN, a vlog for individuals with special needs and those who love them. Welcome everyone to the VLOGAN. Today I have the great honor and pleasure to welcome Mallory DeTota. She is the area director for Best Buddies Ohio, and she's going to tell us all about Best Buddies here in Ohio. Welcome, Mallory.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm interested. I got on your website and I saw International Best Buddies and I saw Best Buddies of Ohio. And then, of course, I saw your name as area director. So, I bet you've got an elevator speech when people say, "Hey, what's Best Buddies all about?" Will you give that to me?
Yeah, for sure. So we are one 501(c)(3). We are all under Best Buddies International. And we are in all 50 states and 47 countries throughout the world at different capacities. Best Buddies in Ohio currently serves 58 chapters, and we can go into what chapter means a little bit later. And we serve over 2,000 participants with and without IDD, which stands for intellectual or developmental disabilities. That's the term that we use to describe our participants who identify with an IDD with a disability. And that can range from Down syndrome, autism, Williams syndrome, traumatic brain injury, cerebral palsy, any of those. We're an all encompassing organization for intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Awesome. So what does Best Buddies do?
So we have 5 pillars within our organization. Our main pillar is friendship. So we have friendship, leadership development, living, jobs, and now family support. Currently in Ohio, we focus on friendship and leadership development. When I said we had 57 chapters, we have from elementary school all the way through adulthood what we call a friendship chapter. It's a completely free program to be a part of. And the main goal is to match an individual who identifies as having an IDD and someone who is neurotypical, a neurotypical peer in a one-to-one friendship match. So at your high school, there is a club, there is a teacher advisor, there is a chapter president who's a student. They can be neurotypical or have an IDD. And everyone in the club in Best Buddies is in a one-to-one friendship match, as well as being a part of this group. They host monthly activities, club get-togethers, holiday parties, Halloween parties. They go to football games together. They hang out during the summer together, have ice cream socials, but they also are expected to hang out with their buddy, as we call them, on an individual basis once a month. And we really see that by increasing the socialization and integrating the school, it decreases bullying, it increases socialization for people with IDD. In elementary school and middle school, students who have disabilities are pretty much still in the main classroom with their neurotypical peers. And then in high school, we see a lot of that separation start to happen. So our high school chapters are crucial important because that's maybe the only time during the day that these students are going to be interacting. And that increases the socialization for our participants with IDD. It helps them with confidence. It helps them, these are intangible skills that have lasting effects on someone being able to get a job, to be able to move into their own apartment. So while our mission is we create friendship, and that can seem trivial and kind of minute, it has profound effects on someone's life and the ability to have a meaningful and successful life. The other point that I always love to make is you're teaching someone who is neurotypical that someone with a disability has value in a world where we often don't think that they do, or are undervalued, or are always told that they're not going to be able to do something. Someone who's been in a Best Buddies chapter in middle school, high school, and college sees the potential in these individuals. Yes, everyone has their limitations. I have my limitations. Someone with a disability may need, different supports, but they can have a job. They can live in their own apartment and have families and have relationships. And so the person who is neurotypical might be hiring someone with a disability one day, and that's going to increase the ability for us to have an inclusive world.
Awesome. So if I can put it in my own terms, Best Buddies Ohio
Mhm,
is a program that fosters friendship
mhm,
between individuals who might not otherwise get to interact with each other.
Yes.
And that's individuals who identify as having an intellectual or developmental disability and individuals who don't. And in high school is where some of your chapters are to begin that friendship kind of placement early on in a young person's life.
Amazing. I will say we do have chapters elementary, middle school, high school, college, and then adulthood through different phases. But yeah, we really hone in on that. We have a lot of chapters in high school. I feel our high school chapters are where that true work is shown, I guess, the most because your students are becoming more independent. They can kind of have more autonomy over the clubs that they join, the people they hang out with. So you really see that those bonds working in our high school chapters. But our middle school and elementary chapters are super great as well. They're
Yeah.
just the teachers and parents are a little bit more involved at that level, you know?
Sure. And I think it's so interesting that you mentioned that, because I hadn't thought of that this morning while we were talking, that, in elementary school, most children are in the same classroom with supports in the classroom. But at the high school level, we see more separation between, individuals who identify with IDD and, the typical high school education, paradigm. And
Right.
so that's where the fostering and the kind of intentional work needs to happen so that
Right.
what was once natural at elementary school, perhaps because of the structure of high school, becomes unnatural. So we're trying to foster that naturalness again.
Yeah, 100% agree with what you said. Yeah.
So tell me about your background, Mallory. How is it that you became the area leader, and tell me what that means? I may have used the wrong
No,
term. I
you're
know
fine.
that.
So yeah, we have a state director. Her name is Catlin Skufka. She is in Cleveland. I always, best buddies when you meet staff from all over the state. We have one staffer here in Ohio who was in her middle school chapter, was in her high school chapter, was in her college chapter. She was a para special education teacher, and then she wanted to work for Best Buddies. She has been in with Best Buddies for 10 years. And you hear a lot of those stories from our employees that just the passion for special education. Um, I don't have a background in special education. The area director's predominant role is to oversee programs and development slash fundraising for Central Ohio. So we have an area director, we have a state director who oversees the state, and then I am in the Central Ohio area overseeing that region. My background is in politics, political fundraising, and official side policy.
So you're a
And
business person.
yeah. So I worked in politics for 6 years, and then my most recent position was at the State House in Columbus. I was a legislative aide to a state representative, so I ran his office for 3 years. And we kind of had. He's an amazing person. He decided to run for attorney general in 2020. And so I did not want to go back to campaign side. I started looking for jobs, and I did feel that I wasn't wanting to go back to political fundraising. I did want to use my skills. I am good at development and fundraising and those types of things, but I wanted to kind of do it for a purpose that I saw more immediate effects in. And that was a little bit more meaningful to me. And so I found this job on LinkedIn, and that is how I got with Best Buddies. So I don't have a background in this work. However, it takes hold of you for sure. I don't know how else to say it. We were actually in a meeting at the legislature when I worked for Best Buddies with one of our participants. Her name is Alex Rogers. She is also one of our board members, and she's been with Best Buddies for a long time, longer than me. And I looked at her in a very honest moment and I said, it's kind of unfortunate that I have only been able to get to call you my friend through work, because you truly have become one of my friends personally, professionally. She's an amazing person and has really opened my eyes to this community that is often overlooked.
Oh, that's what a great story. Thanks for sharing all of
Yeah.
that. So tell me, kind of pulling the camera back. So there's Best Buddies International,
Mhm.
and then there are state programs, areas,
Mhm.
and then kind of local chapters. Is that the way that operates?
Yeah, and as so going into our 5 pillars, a lot of it has to do with funding. So currently, the Best Buddies Ohio does not offer our job program. That takes an uplift in fundraising, but we do have it in states like Florida and New York and New Jersey. And that is where, we have people employed at Best Buddies to be what we call employment consultants and making those job placements. And then obviously that we're doing it because we want people with IDD to um, be in our workforce, but there is a billing structure through that we are, once we make a placement, there are federal rules where it's a profitable part of Best Buddies to be placing people with IDD in job placements. We're not there yet. As a state grows and where the funding comes from kind of directs where your programs are going to go. So our funding has come to mostly fund friendship and leadership development. So we do a lot of training, a lot of workforce readiness training. But as a state grows, it kind of changes the tactics of where we're going to start programs. And it kind of feels like when you're first starting out, there's a lot of organic openings of chapters. So the reason we started in Ohio was a mom in Grandview Heights. Her son, she knew of Best Buddies and she wanted to bring it to Ohio. And so she started a chapter at Grandview Heights High School. Miami University is also one of our oldest and most successful chapters. So I would like to say, there was this like grassroots movement and we opened the state all at once, but it's not like that. You know what I mean? When you're trying to open these programs and solidify funding and really make it successful. So we started with 2 chapters really. And we have grown in Columbus, we've grown in Cleveland, and we've grown in Cincinnati. That's where the cities are. But we do have chapters in the Toledo, and we have one at OU in Southeast Ohio. But I feel we're finally at a point. We started in around 2015 in Ohio. We became an official like staff on the ground state for Best Buddies in 2015. And since then, we've been able to grow our staffer from just our state director, Catlin Skufka. We now have 7 staffers, and we're really able, instead of just like a parent coming up to us saying they want to start a chapter or a teacher, we are now actively opening chapters by going into schools. We have the manpower now to go and present to teachers and present to boards and present to districts about the benefits of Best Buddies. And we're seeing our chapters. We've opened 12 chapters in 3 months just now. And you know what I mean? It's crazy when it took us like 2 years to get to 30 chapters. And now in a year, we've opened over that, because we have the ability and the word is getting out. And so, yes, we do have local chapters, but a lot of it is organic connections, the way we open school chapters. There's a parent, there's a teacher, there's a student that sees it. They contact us or we contact them going to community events or stuff like that, or they've come to one of our development events. We have a huge walk every year. We have a gala every year. Sometimes those connections happen. So it's very still organic and grassroots the way we're growing our mission.
So let me kind of follow up on that if I can. So if someone's watching this vlog and they say, oh, I'd like to learn more about Best Buddies or even start a chapter at my school, that there is support for that to happen. And it's not just, well, here's some information, go off on your own. There's actually a structure there to help people get this off the ground in a local way.
Yeah, so if someone were to go on our website or contact one of us, we all are very, communicative. It would immediately hit one of our staffers, and what region you were in, you'd be directed to that staffer. So people think that to participate or to open a school chapter costs money. It does not, because we are able to have staff on the ground that show you how to open the chapter, that come into your school and train you and train your administration and speak to your principal and your teacher and show the structure and how the chapter is supposed to work and really get it off the ground. And then after it's off the ground, sustain it with monthly touch points and coming into the school and making sure that the chapter is successful, making sure you're making matches, all of these things, because we don't want to open chapters to close them. We want to make sure that they're sustainable. We don't want a chapter to be offered one year and not the next. So yeah, you would fill out an interest form, or you can find my cell phone number. It is on the website, and call me, and we will get that chapter open. Now, a lot of the times teachers have a lot of demands on their time, right?
Yeah.
And this is an extra thing we are asking of teachers. Now we give as much support. We give so much support, but it is something that the teachers and students have to buy into, because I do not know who is friends and who's going to make the best matches at Hilliard Bradley High School. Do you know who mows that? The kids and the teachers. So there is an element of, it is a volunteer-led movement, Best Buddies. We come in and we create the system and we give them support, but we have to have that buy-in. And we do realize that that is an ask on the teacher's time, but it does have profound effects, not only on the people in the chapter, but on the entire school's outlook on bullying. And, there's a lot of studies that show that having Best Buddies chapters decreases bullying and increases inclusion in the school.
Is there an actual Best Buddies office, Ohio?
We have 2 offices, actually. So we are members of Cohatch, which is a co-working space in
Good.
Ohio. And we do have a physical office at the Easton location, and then the one in Ohio City in Cleveland. And I do think we'll be looking at getting one in Cincinnati as well. But because our program managers, for instance, are often in schools and driving around, we do work from home. I'm in my home today, but we do have physical office locations. And then why we love Cohatch so much, I could rave on about Cohatch. This is not a podcast about Cohatch, but they've been very kind to us and they're very good to other nonprofits. If you and I wanted to meet at any Cohatch in the state of Ohio, because we're members, we can get a meeting room at any of them. So while we do have an office location at Easton and Columbus that's dedicated to us, if I needed to meet somebody in UA, Westerville, Dublin, anywhere, we can meet. So that's my spiel on Cohatch.
That's amazing. So tell me about the walk, then how people get in touch with Best Buddies if they want to learn more.
Yeah, so we have an annual friendship walk, and we are hosting 3 this year. We're doing one in Cleveland, one Columbus, and one in Cincinnati. So wherever you are located, you'll be able to find a walk. There might be a little bit of driving for some people, but the friendship walk is just a day to celebrate inclusion. It really is. We throw these giant celebrations. It's not a 5K, it's not a 10K. We kind of take a leisurely stroll together, like on a mile walk, but the rest of the day is games, fun, and music. We have a DJ and just like a bunch of really fun activities for all of us together and celebrate Best Buddies. It's completely free to register and attend. There is a fundraising element. Our schools compete against each other. We have community teams, and the more you fundraise, the more incentives you get. So there is that fundraising aspect. But I say that with a asterisk because if you just want to come and learn about our atmosphere and see our participants and see our community, you may absolutely sign up, attend, and it is free. So it is a completely inclusive event. If someone were to want to reach out and learn about us, our website is bestbuddies.org/Ohio. All of our state contact information is there. If you go to the staff section of that, our emails
I
and
saw
our
it.
cell.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can directly email us. You can also always email our general email at ohio@bestbuddies.org. Like if you were interested in helping with a fundraising event, that email is going to come to me. If you're interested in opening up a school chapter, becoming a participant at already an existing chapter, that email will go to the right person. You can also through our website see if your school already has a chapter. If that's something like if you're gonna go to Ohio State next year, we have a chapter there, and you would be able to fill out an interest form, and it would actually get sent straight to the chapter president of Ohio State. Other thing
I
I will
already
just
saw
say,
actually. I saw that Grandview Heights. I live in Grandview.
yeah,
But Grandview Heights High School already has a fundraising page for the walk, and so
yeah.
they've already raised $270 of their $500 goal. So
Yeah,
people,
they have that is so when you sign up a team, 500 is your like automatic limit. That's a really good reminder for me to go change that. They have raised far more over that, and they're actually looking to be the top fundraising school team for our Central Ohio walk. So they're very excited. And they're great. There are, like I said, one of our oldest chapters, and they're very excited this year. They've unfortunately like come in second and third a couple times, and I think they're like really wanting to. And we do a lot of incentives for school teams. If they get all their kids registered, we do pizza parties and stuff like that. So it's really fun for the walk leading up to that. But I will say you can also through that website find register for any of our 3 walks in Cleveland and Columbus and Cincinnati through our website.
are those
And
in the
find out.
spring?
Yes, they
Okay,
are.
so we should be on the lookout for that.
Yes, we are kicking off Friendship Walk season I believe, the third week of January. So you don't have to sign up by them, but that's kind of like those 10 weeks leading up to it. We do a lot of communication. We do a lot of incentives for our schools. So a lot more information will be hitting people's emails and social media through there through after that third week of January. But yes, if you're interested in getting involved, you can find it on our website very easily, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and we will be putting updates about that. We only have one like social media handle. It's Best Buddies Ohio 1. We don't have like Best Buddies Columbus, Best Buddies
Great.
Cleveland. We're all one state. Yeah.
Awesome. Can you tell us, is there a certain segment and age that you see most participants? Is it that high school, college age? Is that where you're seeing these friendships, high school through the end of college?
That's where most of our chapters are. I will say, you'll see when you have someone, when you have a sibling, when you have a child or anyone in your life with a disability, there are, not perfect supports, but quite a bit of support up until the age of 22. People with IDD can usually attend high school, public high school, until they're 22. Now, a lot of people leave before that. It honestly depends on their independent plan, but a lot of those supports then end at 22. So we do see, yes, very vibrant high school and college chapters. We do, but we are also seeing such a need for our adult friendship chapters. We refer to them as citizens. And, someone with a disability who's 44 still wants to socialize, and they don't want to do it with college kids. They want to go have a beer. They want to go to a football game. They want to go get a manicure. They want to go to a happy hour, just like everybody else. So we do have an adult friendship chapter in Franklin County and Cuyahoga County. They are called Citizens. So it's Best Buddies Citizens Franklin County, Best Buddies Citizens Cuyahoga County. And those friendship chapters are run by our staff. So instead of having a teacher advisor, we have a staff person, our program managers, who oversee and make those matches. So if you want to join, again, it's completely free. We have 4 quarterly events. We just held our holiday bowling party. We had over 50 people attend. I see such impacting relationships.
And that was adults at the 50.
Adults, yeah.
Okay.
So because we have such flourishing college chapters and we don't have high school chapters everywhere, we do allow adults with IDD to be in our college chapters as long as they like. So Toledo, BGSU, OU, Cleveland State, all of these, Miami University, they do have people who are adults with IDD in those chapters, but we're seeing a lot of need for us to open dedicated adult friendship chapters, because someone who's 44 with an IDD is probably going to get matched with an 18 to 21-year-old who is enrolled at Miami University. And
Yeah.
a lot of times that doesn't, they do make great friendships. A lot of them are amazing. A lot of people don't ever want to leave, but we do have people who do want to kind of be in their own age group. So that's why we've started to open adult friendship chapters. And we usually say, if you're under 35, you're going to stay in the college chapter if you identify as an IDD. And then if you're over 35, you're going to join our citizens chapter and be matched with someone neurotypical who is of more similar age.
Amazing. So if anyone of any age, if you're a parent of a child in elementary school, a parent of a child in high school, you're a high school student, you're a middle school student, you're an adult, going to Best Buddies Ohio and reaching out to you or someone on the staff would be the best place to say, hey, I'm interested in either having a friendship, being a part of a friendship, whether that's neurologically typical individuals or individuals who identify as IDD.
Yeah, that's absolutely the right way. I hope that we already have a chapter established. If we don't, I may ask you for the best contact at your school, the principal's name, and get that going as soon as possible.
Amazing. Mallory, this has just been so informative to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of VLOGAN. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can stay up to date with some of the latest news in the disability community.